Hey, good evening, folks, and welcome back. I'm Donnie. I'd like to invite you to join me for a pipe and a pour. I've been trying to get out here the last couple of days to sit down, a couple of still moments, talk to you good, fine folks on the YouTube pipe community. Life, weather, all that stuff gets in the way sometimes, And I'm realizing again that this is more difficult than it may appear sometimes. Finding time to carve out and be still. But it's also very healthy, again, exercise for me to kind of get my thoughts together and take a few minutes to slow down. But I'm glad you guys are here for my third installment, because I had some things I need to talk to you guys about that I'm trying to sort out for myself. About hypocrisy. My name is Donnie, and I'm a hypocrite. It's true. We'll get to that in a minute. Tonight in the pipe, Ziri Meerschaum, Shire Cobbett. Picked this up at the Muletown show. It's one my wife and I both fell in love with, especially the Starry Night stem that they've started putting on there. Just thought that was super cool. Been wanting to get this shape for a while. In it, where is it? In it. And I'm having trouble keeping it lit because I talk too much. And I didn't dry it out. But going classic. Little Three Nuns. Really learning to enjoy this Virginia Perique blend in the new iteration of it. I was looking back a while back and understanding that the formula's changed. I believe previously had some Kentucky in it. Don't know the full story. Any of you fine folks happen to know the full story, please share with me. I would love to hear about that in the comments. But I'm also on a kick of it right now because I've been reading a little more C.S. Lewis. I read this book, Mere Christianity, when I was right out of college a few years ago, just a couple of years ago. And it was a lot to take in at the time. It's still very deep and complex. A lot of ideas that really resonate with me now as I've gotten older, and my faith journey and walk is ebbed and flowed and ups and downs. And some of it I just kind of go, time and place. Again, C.S. Lewis, this collection of writings were writings as well as radio broadcasts in England in the early 40s. There's a little stuff, a few things going on in England in the early mid 40s. And so you have to keep that in your mind's eye and put that in context when you're reading some of his writings. But love C.S. Lewis, and apparently he was a big fan of Three Nuns. So I have grown to like it as well. I'm trying to do better with understanding and get better at the tin notes and the room notes. My sniffer is not very good though, but I definitely pick up the natural grassy kind of fermented hay. It now makes sense to me more the more time I spend with it, because I'm like, oh yeah, I recognize that from my sister and brother-in-law's horse barn. I was like, I know I smelled that before, but not in a bad way. It's pleasing to me. Now, the pour in my glass tonight. Some of y'all may not be familiar with this one. Let's become a favorite. Old Soul out of Jackson, Mississippi. This is a single barrel pick from a local store here that I frequent called Red Dog. They do a lot of really great picks and a lot of good stuff. This is 109 proof single barrel pick from them. Originally distilled in Indiana. That means MGP probably. But aged and bottled in Jackson, Mississippi. I wonder if our good friends at the Country Squire and the folks at Old Soul from Cathead Distillery, surely they've got to collaborate on something, don't you think? Makes sense to me. I'll volunteer to taste test or be part of that focus group should you guys decide to do that. Okay? But this Old Soul single barrel is a high rye, 75% corn, 21% rye, balance 4 or 5% in malted barley. But really, really tasty. And it's actually pairing quite well with the Three Nuns. I'm enjoying it very much. I'm enjoying being outside as the sun sets over here. But now, the subject at hand. I'm a hypocrite. And I hope that some of you fine folks out there are going, oh, Donnie, don't. You're still so young and so new. Don't be so hard on yourself. The fact of the matter is, it's kind of true, and it's funny. So here's the story. My daughter, 10 years old, amazing, bright light of my life. We've been dealing with her the last several months with increased screen time. If you're a parent out there with kids from 2 to 22, I don't know, you probably have dealt with this before, right? In one version or another. But we started slowly with, giving her access to screens and tablets and our phones and that kind of thing. We're still limited as best we can. But she's discovered, we allowed her to get a video game at Christmas. And that video game led to finding YouTube channels that show you how to do things in this video game. And some of them are pretty creative. So it's engaging her creative mind and getting her moving. But then some of it leads into just nonsense. And I think we all can agree there's plenty of nonsense out there, even here on YouTube. And some of it's just not appropriate for 10-year-old. It's not appropriate, period, but that's a whole other subject for a whole other time. Bear with me, please. I'm also not a huge fan of social media. Really not. Anyway, her sticking point for me being a hypocrite, because she called me out as we were looking at my new YouTube channel, which, again, I'm thoroughly enjoying. Thank you guys for showing up. Appreciate the support and the subscriptions. I've been remiss. I'll go say it now. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy me and our conversations, this content, a pipe and a pour. Please like and subscribe. I've been forgetting to do that. I don't know, but I'm not a shill. I try not to be. But we were looking at it, and she was just really incredibly like, oh my gosh, my dad's got a YouTube channel. It's so cool. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty fun. I'm enjoying it. But then she stopped and she looked at me. Dad, you were just fussing at me about being on YouTube too often. And here we are. Touche, child. Touche. She had me dead to rights, and she's exactly right. And then when she went on, she's like, and you deleted all your social media last year because it's just a waste of time. And that. I was like, yeah, you're right. I did. She's like, but now you've got your Instagram account at Pipes and Pours. And I was like, you know what? You're exactly right. So it gave us the opportunity to talk about social media expectations. And the thing that I've learned over the last couple of years, being a parent, being a dad, dealing with my own stuff, is there's the use of and enjoyment of social media and YouTube can produce, in my mind, one of two things: comparison or community. And I've been guilty of falling into the comparison before. Quite honestly, been there before with the comparison. And we all know it leads to self-doubt. It leads to low self-esteem. It can lead to depression. It can lead to isolation. Even though we feel we're connected and we may be getting likes, we're really isolating ourselves into just a virtual world with no real connection back and forth. And I think we all have to be careful with that, even here in the YouTube Pipe community. The other thing, which I am being more intentional about, is community. And And I hope that's sort of what we can continue to grow and nurture together. Good evening from Levi. There we have him chiming in. But community is where you grow. Community is where you challenge yourself. You are challenged by others. You meet together over common interest and ideas, and you disregard the places where you may not see eye to eye. Of course, that's a whole other thing that we have to learn the art of discourse once again. We forgot how to do that in our culture these days. But it was just a real challenge from my daughter that I need to be intentional. And I want to encourage intentionality from you fine folks, that when we're using YouTube and when we're using social media, whatever platform you choose to use it for community, to build something, to invest in yourself and invest in others, and not for comparison. You know, my cellar doesn't look like your cellar. My pipe collection doesn't look like your pipe collection, and it's okay. It's okay, because you're living your life. Your story is yours. My story is mine, and it doesn't matter if they're the same. One's no better than the other. So there I go being dad and trying to preach. So lastly, on community, a big shout out and a big thanks to my good friend Andrew of the Southern Piper, who did give me a shout out and send some people my way. Thank you guys for showing up. If you're here and you're back again, thank you, Andrew, and you guys know the Southern Piper, man. That guy's a champion for others. He is constantly speaking guys and gals up, and building community, and I appreciate that from him. There's so many others. Hobbiton Piper and the Spurgeon Piper. I love those guys because they do welcome you in, and they're honest and they're real, and they're building community, and I want to be a part of that. So thank you to all you fine folks. Thank you to those gentlemen helping to build community. I'm going to relight this three nuns and finish off my pour of this Old Soul single barrel. But until next time, thank you for joining me for a pipe and a pour. Cheers, my friends. Talk soon.